play the actual trailer from the good old man himself. The good old HoloSmith itself. Let's have a quick look again, and then we'll be back and we'll have a look at the abilities and stuff.
HoloSmiths are engineers who've learned to project the power of light into a semi-solid form. They supplement their technical genius by wielding swords. In their Photon Forge mode, they gain access to powerful new skills. Each skill generates heat, which can cause damage to them as the temperature rises. Their utility skills take advantage of this, gaining greater power when their heat level exceeds a threshold.
Awesome. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to play potentially a little bit of music underneath this, because I'll be talking as well. And Richie has got some music under, I believe. I'm not too sure. But this is going to be constant. So we need a constant soundtrack. All right? We need a constant soundtrack, and that's fine. Okay, so... And there he is, the caster as well. The caster command. Thank you very much, Jectress. Okay, so BogOtter, this is his channel. Make sure you go and check it out, obviously, as well. If the music is too loud, please let me know, because obviously I will turn that down and turn it a little bit down for my own satisfaction. I think the video I have is quite random in terms of the volume levels, but we are excited. We are hyped for the potential awesomeness that the HoloSmith can provide. I can't actually remember tiny bits of the actual knowledge that I know, because I'm too excited. Like, everything has just gone out of my head. So typical, but this is what we're going to do. We're going to go through it and have a look exactly what we have in store. So obviously the HoloSmith has got the sword. BogOtter just keeps coming. He's got the sword as his main weapon. I think Richie's picked sword shield here, and he's got some of the utilities as well and everything else, which is currently available to him. It is slightly zoomed in. We might even zoom it in a little bit more, just because we want to get some of the more of the tooltips. But I want to make sure we get some of the actual visuals as well, which come out of this this new Elite Spec as well. So guys, thanks again for watching. Let's go through and see exactly what we've got here. So I think he's about to go into the Forge setting. Let's go, and there you go. It's engage Photon Forge. So this is the main. So this takes the place of, I believe it takes the place of the Elite Toolbelt skill if you have selected the Elite specialization of Photon Forge. Again, I'm not going off of any information that anyone else has told me. I've watched this video alone, and it's mainly showing you the stuff that you see on the screen, and Richie explains a bit at the beginning, but then obviously just goes through the rest of the footage and lets us kind of analyze it ourselves and get our own thoughts about it as well, which is pretty cool. I actually like that. But yeah, it looks like this replaces it, so I guess you don't have a choice in that. I'm not too sure, but obviously, you know, if you're going to pick an Elite Spec, you want to have this as well. There's a heat UI widget that wasn't showing up in the demo. So that's the heat when you overheat to, you know, 50% and whatnot, and you do more damage. Okay. Alright then. So that's the only thing which we're kind of missing. So that's what BogOtter is telling us in the chat. He's saying that there is a mechanic where basically, and you can see it on the screen, you can see the heat and whatnot per second, 2%, which builds up. And it looks like the way it's treated here, the maximum heat is 150. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, when you're in this Photon Forge form, as far as I know, you build up heat, and heat comes up, is it a percentage or if it's a value of 100, I think. This looks like it's been augmented, because normally through the traits, if something is augmented, it is blue. So I'm guessing that in the HoloSmith, you can basically rise the heat level so that you can actually, you know, do more, but I'm guessing the percentage is obviously going to be the same. So above 50% is 75. That's just my assumption. I'm not 100% sure. Again, you know, this is a guess, I guess, as well, and we're not going to be able to see that value on the screen anyway. So that's something that was in the build that they got to play. So just to let you guys know. So let's have a look. Activate your Photon Forge, gaining access to new skills. Generate heat while Proton Forge is active. Take damage if you overheat. Disables use of kits for a short duration. So obviously you get new... I don't know if you get new skills or if these were before, because he hasn't clicked on this yet. So I think you can use still kits in your build, but you can't use them while you're in Proton Forge. Photon Forge. Proton Forge. Should it have been called Proton Forge? I don't know. I know Richie is here, so if he wants to chime in, I don't know if he wants to chime in while I'm doing this. I'm not sure, but that's up to him as well. So deactivate Photon Forge as well. Cancel Photon Forge and begin cooling after a delay. Cooling effectiveness increases over time. Okay, so let's have a look. Heat loss per second, 5%. Okay, so you actually lose more than you gain, obviously, if you're out, so that's fine. Improve heat loss per second, 10%. I wonder if that's traded. No, it doesn't look like it. So this is quite good. Look at this, because Engineer has always had a problem with conditions, right? Like, conditions are our worst enemy, almost, especially like in PvP. And this is where I'm kind of coming from in this perspective. I'm coming from like almost a PvP perspective, but I guess almost we can try and relate that to the current meta in terms of raiding, because I do raid in Guild Wars 2, I do PvE. And in terms of what the Engineer plays at the moment, it's a condition build. We actually play hard condition builds with pistol, with bombs, grenades as well, and flamethrower, sorry, of course, you know, and the mortar kit as well. So we've got tons of conditions that come out of our build. This, I don't know, feels like, thanks for the follow, it's more of a hybrid, I guess, power with some burning as well. So yeah, I think that it's very... Join the power bomb squad. Yeah, so there is a power build for raiding in Guild Wars 2, which I think Wooden Potato started playing and made a little bit more famous, but yeah, not the most optimal, but still, you know, you can play it if you want, like some people do in my chat. And I'm jealous because they can probably beat me in DPS, and I'm just like making so many rotations. It's the only problem with the condition build. You have to make so many rotations in terms of what you have to do. There's so many buttons, you know, toolkit buttons as well. You're pretty much pressing nearly everything in a rotation and remembering the cooldowns on your head. It's quite annoying, which is why my DPS is probably a bit lower. But anyway, let's continue. Oh wow, okay. So when you come out of Photon Forge, you can remove conditions. Now this is blue, so I don't know. Again, I don't know if this is augmented by traits. These are blue as well, so I'm wondering whether or not this is, you know, +1. So maybe 1 was here and 2 was here. I'm not sure. Until we get traits and more information, I have no idea exactly. And guys, if you've just walked into the chat, like Kali as well, or Kaleo, we're literally going over it. So I'm giving you my live impressions of it right now. So I don't know yet. is the best way I can explain that. But it looks like basically when you deactivate it, it's a good way for you to also remove some conditions. It said if your conditions to boons, and that's boons, so that's actual conversion to boons, and engineer already. So if you've got this with, say, you know, alchemical tinctures or something else, you know, where conditions are changed or removed, or conditions are not alchemical tinctures. I can't remember the trait exactly. But it is a trait where conditions are converted into boons, and then you've got it with this. I think it's a minor. I do actually want to double check that. I think I will on our website very, very quickly, because I want to know. I want to remember what the exact one is called. It's a minor trait as well. But anyway, it means more condition removal, and more condition removal is good because of necros, because of condition dealers, and there might be a potential for that to be a big case, obviously coming up in the patch that we have. Of course, everything else seems to not be working now, so that's good. I was going to go to metalbow.com. Wow. That's fantastic, isn't it? I think it's down, actually. Okay, cool. Here we go. I've got it. So an alchemy... Is it alchemy? Alchemical tinctures is just literally throwing elixirs and whatnot anyway. Anyway, there's basically a trait, and I explained it very briefly. So basically it changes your conditions into boons. Incoming conditions, so they don't get to be them originally anyway in the first place. But anyway, let's go over it. So that's more condition removal. Fantastic when you come out of that. But when you're in Photon Forge, you do a ton of extra damage, and it does give you some more abilities, which we're going to bring up on our screen very shortly. I hope. I can't remember what the order is as well that he's done this in. So I'm doing this on the fly because I've watched this once and that's it. Okay, so that's awkward. Let's just bring it back a sec. I double clicks like in old school Windows for some reason. This is in HD, good. Let's take it back to where he just transformed in. So he clicks it, and there you go. There's this kind of form where you turn into this. It's like Tron, man. It's so cool. You just turn into this. Let me just see if I can actually zoom in on this a bit more, because it does look good. And this is what I mean. This is going to be very, like, you know, scrappy from me, because I just want to show all the things. We'll do. That's actually quite a good view. There you go. That looks pretty cool, right? I like it. And like someone just linked as well, you can buy the expansion on the channel if you want to. There's links and stuff available. You can go and do that. Okay, so let's have a look. I like the look of it generally as well. It's cool. Obviously, it takes away the effort that you made in terms of your armor, but, you know. And if you notice, his weapons have been taken away completely as well. And you can see on the F1 skills, it looks like he's got a sword, like a spinning attack and whatnot. But have these utilities changed? I don't think they have. I think they're just like the base of the build, right? And I've not looked at any information anywhere else. So if you guys know something more than me, you're welcome to bring it to the table. But it's just my own impressions from it in the first place. And I told you, this could be quite a long process. I'm just, you know, interested. There you go, and there's someone's put the skill tooltips as well over there. So this hasn't actually changed at all. Okay, there you go. Right, so he's going to be going over here. Right, so here we go. Light strike. So this is the sword. But has this changed? Has this changed from before as well? Let's have a quick look. I just want to have a look. If it does actually change your abilities completely there, or if it just changes like the sword abilities, do you know what I mean? I just want to double check that's the case. It does. So it changes, or it just gives you a whole set of new abilities. And again, remember, I didn't want to know any information before this, preferably. So it's going to give us that. So let's quickly, right, have a look at those. So you have Light Strike, Bright Slash, and Flash Cutter. So swing a holographic blade. You do 1k damage. I'm guessing this is built off the stats. I don't know what stats BogOtter had at the time. I don't know, but we'll have to see. And you actually gain heat as well. So whether or not, you know, in other classes like Thief with Initiative and everything else, it takes away something. This adds to the heat. So obviously when you're doing more, when you're above a certain heat percentage as well, you actually do more damage. As far as I remember, I think the base is 50%. It could be 25. I could be wrong. We haven't got the little heat thingy up, so we can't actually see. I think he might bring the traits up. I can't remember. But either way, let's have a look at the abilities again. So Light Strike is going to be 1k damage. Heat gain 2%. Number of targets 5. So it's a cleaving ability. Like all really, you know, weapon abilities are now pretty much. Everything is cleavy. Bright Slash. Slash with a blade of light energy. So more damage as well. I don't think we've got any addition to that, have we? Same range, same damage, heat gained as well, 2%. So you're building, so as you do damage, obviously when you're in this mode and you're versus someone else or you're versus another target, you want to be building up your heat as soon as possible, but you also want to be managing that heat, because if you overcharge and you get to 100%, you take damage, but I cannot remember, I don't know how much damage you take. Devs have said, or someone did say, that the damage you take is not going to put you into the down state, as far as we've been told. And this is PvP, so I don't know how different that's going to be. And then Flash Cutter, cleave through all foes in front of you twice. Twice, okay. 2 times 1.7k damage, heat gain 2%, and then obviously range and targets is still the same. So let's see where we go to next. This might be a bit going to and fro. So that looks quite cool. If we look at the sword as well, look how massive that sword is. I mean, it looks like a great sword as well. So I'm kind of wondering whether or not the animation on like an Asura will be like a two-handed one. I'm not too sure. On Norns, I think they do that. No, they do two hands as well. So it actually just looks like a massive one-handed sword. I'm not too sure. There you go. Let us just make this a bit smaller again, because stuff in my screen is kind of getting in the way a bit. Just tell me if something looks a bit poo and I'll change it. It gives us a sword. Yeah, a sword. I think a lot of people were expecting a mace, you know, before like leaks and stuff. Okay, so let's just unpause it again for a second. So that's the slash. So that's the first slash. So you won't see the second and third charged abilities. What did he just press then? Was it 2? Yeah, 2. There you go. So that looks very similar to, say... let's have a look at it again. Does that look similar to a sword charge from a warrior? I don't know. I don't think so, because that's more of like that charging forward sword. It kind of almost looks like a hammer animation, a little bit, like from the Guardian, but just with a one-handed sword. I don't know, let's have a look again. I've seen that animation before. It looks like the Revenant one with the axe. I think it's the axe. Yeah, something similar. I can't remember. But it looks similar to an animation that we've seen before. Anyway, that's the sword. That's the second ability in Proton Forge. There you go, Hollow Leap. So it's going to be called... Yeah, but just similar. I'm just trying to pick out similarities between something else, that's all. Not the exact thing that it looks like. So Hollow Leap is the second ability when in Photon Forge. Create a holographic launch pad and leap to your foe. The pad remains behind for a short duration of time, granting increased movement speed to allies who touch it. So it actually gives you swiftness. So one of the things that is very, very difficult for a scrapper or engineer in PvP specifically is movement speed, because you can't take other things. Like Inventions gives you a trait line where you can basically increase your base movement speed by 25%. Okay, so let me just remind myself of what it's actually called, because over time you kind of forget these things. That's it, Mecha Legs. It was changed years ago as well. So that adds 25% movement speed bonus, and I think, you know, if you remember before, speedy kits always gave us swiftness, and now if you destroy your gyros and whatnot, you can get super speed, and you can also get super speed and swiftness from other sources. You know, obviously if you blast like a lightning field and whatnot as well, you're going to get swiftness, and you can get some super speed elsewhere depending on what you use. If you use blast gyro, for example, you can get it on your toolkit, and in turn those abilities heal you. So obviously, you know, with Scrapper you can't combine the two, so there you go. You're not going to be able to do that with this, but at the same time it doesn't matter, does it? Okay, wonder if I take something away here from my stream. Okay, don't worry about that. Let's not think about that right now. But yes, so the pad remains for a certain amount of time as well. So the damage on, I'm guessing the damage on is on the final hit. There's nothing on the first one. is just under 2k. Again, I don't know what stats he's got. Heat gained is 7%, so that actually gets you a lot of heat. You get swiftness for 3 seconds. That's pretty cool. So you can use this as an engagement tool as well, or if you need to get on top of a point quite quickly in PvP, or a charge onto a boss in a raid, or a fractal and whatnot. So do you equip a sword weapon with HoloSmith, or it just gives you a holographic sword? So what happens is that you can be sword shield, for example, but this is Photon Forge. So we're looking at the Photon Forge Elite tool belt skill, and that tool belt skill, when activated, changes all of your 1 to 5 abilities, as you can see at the bottom of the screen. I can go back and I can show you the actual fact that where are we at? 32 seconds in 5 minutes and 47. This is great. This is great. Okay, so if you remember 32 seconds. So here, you can see the abilities are different. Whether or not they're similar, I'm not too sure, but they're different. If we go to 32 here, again, you know, they have changed. Yeah, it's kind of like Death Shard. That's actually a really good explanation of it. It is actually very similar to Death Shard in that respect. Yes, it is. But you still have your tool belt skills and whatnot. That's a very good point. Obviously, combo finisher as well, leap, is there. So obviously you can combo leap up. Yeah, it's pretty cool, right? I think that's awesome. So yeah, that is actually a really good way of describing it. It's like a Death Shroud, but it's not like a Death Shroud. Oh, wow. Okay. Something else happened. Look at our HP, 21,522. That's how much HP did he have before? Oh no, he still had that. So it doesn't change your HP. What amulet are you running? Oh, that must be okay. Like, yeah, okay. I was like, wow, it makes your HP bigger. That would be sick, but it's not that. They gave a better Death Shroud. Okay, so let's continue. Holo Leap looks cool. So he's going to use that again, just show us exactly what that skill looks like. It's pretty cool. Okay. Next one, Corona Burst. Now I was just talking about this with the fact that Corona is obviously a beer. Actually not a bad beer. I don't mind it. From South America. Strike nearby foes, or whether or not it's made there, I don't know. Strike nearby foes and begin to store up energy, gaining boons and heat each pulse. After charging, the energy explodes, inflicting conditions on nearby foes. So when it says conditions, there's no... It's a vulnerability condition. It's not anything else, it doesn't look like. What if that burning or something would have been fairly useful? Yeah, Scourge looks cool as well. Maybe we can do this with other stuff. I have to ask Richie, to be fair. So strike nearby foes and begin to store up energy, gaining boons and heat each pulse. So the boons we grab are might and stability by the looks of things. But again, they're blue. So we have to remember that anything blue is changed via the traits. Anything that's, you know, kind of grayed out a bit is just standard in there. That doesn't mean you don't get stability. It means that the stability duration may have been increased, and there might be a difference in terms of, I don't think stacks, but maybe everything else. I think it's just time. I think it's just the amount of time, maybe, or is stability added? I don't know. Until we see the traits, I'm not too sure. And again, vulnerability is traded there as well. Maybe it's added a stack of vulnerability, because I can't really see why they wouldn't have just added that above. So it looks like an extra vulnerability added as well. So I'll have to see about that. It says incoming damage. Yeah, okay. So damage is 1.3k, heat gain 2%, barrier per hit. Okay. After charging, the energy explodes, inflicting conditions. Barrier per hit. Okay, I'm not too sure about that one. Number of targets 5, pulses 5. So gaining boons and heat each pulse. So you got 5 pulses, so you're going to get 10% heat. And you're going to get potentially... Is that a stacking bonus of stability then? So do I gain 2 stacks of stability every pulse? I don't know. I don't know how to read that specifically. That could be interesting. That's actually really strong then. Strike nearby foes and begin to store up energy, gaining boons and heat each pulse. It looks like it's just almost like a buff that you use, you know? After charging, the energy explodes, inflicting conditions on nearby foes. So it looks like I gain a buff, and then basically when that charge is built up, I put out conditions like vulnerability. That kind of makes sense to me. Might be incorrect the way I've kind of looked at that as well, to be honest. Until I touch it and feel it in my hand, I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, it looks pretty awesome. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that makes sense as well. If we're comparing it to Reaper Shard, it's like the stability you get from Reaper Shard and Might, but also the addition of other things. So again, you know, that is a very good point. Barrier is a new defensive mechanic. It's like a shield that gets added to your life bar. I'm guessing kind of like in Overwatch, maybe. Ah, okay. Yes, I know, Fox. I intentionally said that for that reason. Double entendres. Okay, Bjorn. Thanks, man. That kind of makes sense. That kind of makes sense. Okay, so let's move on. So... yeah, so stability. So that's going to be fantastic for rezzing, downing, and with... they also need to think about the fact that, you know, elite specializations are one dedicated line. So they need to be thinking about the fact that what made Scrapper strong was stability and the fact that you could res, right? One of the main things that made Scrapper strong, especially in PvP. Scrapper is not something that gets used in PvE. So we're thinking primarily about PvP, maybe even World v World. And actually, if you think about it in the terms of this could be quite good for World v World in terms of survivability. You've got a lot of stability coming out, and you don't need to have a little gyro popping up and down to help you achieve that. So that's pretty cool. I actually think that's pretty nice, actually. It's just a buff, essentially, like we've been talking about in chat as well. Barrier is based on your vitality and scales with healing power. Oh, is you talking about that something else from the Necro? Oh, the Scourge. Okay. Right, we're going to move on. Possibly the 4th skill. Let's see what it does when it activates. We'll be able to see, actually. Oh, no, he's not. Okay, so he's moved on to the utilities here. So let's have a look at the utilities. Utilities didn't change based on Photon Forge. Okay. Break stun effects and create a holographic shield that reduces incoming damage. This skill recharges faster while above the heat threshold. So these really do interact with Photon Forge quite well. This is really good. So this is a stun breaker. It lasts for 3 seconds. It's a bit like protection, but higher. It's 50% minus incoming damage rather than 33. And minus 50% incoming condition damage as well. Wow. Okay, this is really good. So this is a lot like having 2 gyros in one, right? I mean, let's have a quick look. I just want to check their stats on this. Purge gyro. But it decreases the amount of condition damage rather than removes conditions. So that's still quite good. I just want to double check. Deploy a purge gyro, remove conditions from you and your nearby allies. 2 conditions removed. But this is good because it's like having that trait in Scrapper, which is quite interesting in itself. Let me just go to it again and remind myself what it's called. It's the toughness one. There we go. Adaptive armor, that's right. So gain stacking toughness when struck, reduce incoming condition damage. So it's almost like they borrowed something from Scrapper and put it into this line with utilities in terms of the HoloSmith. So that's actually quite cool. And incoming, obviously, damage as well, minus 50%. And if we have a look at the gyro, bulwark gyro, but that's your self and allies. So this is more self. This is all self. This isn't team based. So again, you know, the HoloSmith feels like this could be a really good 1v1 build. Even though Scrapper is still good 1v1 now, this could be even better. But it's whether or not it's got the survivability the Scrapper has and the blocks and whatnot. But the thing is if you use sword, and you don't have to use sword shield. Obviously, you don't have to use sword shield at all. I mean, like, you can use pistols and stuff. You can't use hammer, though, because you haven't got Scrapper. Can you imagine if you could use 2 elite specializations? Let's not get too happy about that. But it would be sick. You'd be unkillable. It would be ridiculous. So the damage reduced by bulwark gyro is 33%. Similar to protection, I guess, and the duration is 15 seconds. So this is for 3 seconds. So it's very short in comparison in itself, but it's 50%, not 33. Okay. What's the cooldown? 30 seconds. Whew. That's quite long, isn't it? How long is the cooldown on bulwark gyro? 20. And they raised that, right? Is it 25 now? Well, it's 25 now. Okay, maybe it's not. And it's different. All these things are different in PvP, of course, as well. So I might have actually chucked onto the wrong page. But anyway, you get the gist. But break stun is obviously quite important. We're getting our stability from the third ability in Photon Forge as well. And like it said, the skill recharges faster while above the heat threshold. So the heat threshold is 50. But if we saw before as well, I think it was up to 150 heat that you can get, which I think is traded when we hovered over the F5, which is the ability which gets you into Photon Forge. So that's quite cool. I just wonder what the faster recharge rate is while you're above the threshold. I guess maybe we'll be able to see that. We'll have to wait and see. Okay, so we're back onto Corona Burst. There's no music. What's happening? You know it's just going to jump up on me, right? You know that's what's going to happen. Jesus Christ. I just need music. I need something in the background, you know? Okay, so let's continue. Let's go on third. Oh, okay, there we go. You saw it. Very briefly. Let's see if he uses it again. It is really like a buff. Alright, Photon Blitz. We'll come back to it because it looks like... Did he say on the tooltip? And I'm blind. Did he say on the tooltip? Sorry, I missed that. I must have missed that. My bad. Did it really say that? And I just completely missed it. Oh, no, it does. My God. Wow, I read everything but that. So yes, my bad. It does indeed say recharge reduced to 50%. So that's great. You know, that's fantastic. 15 seconds. There you go. Thanks, guys, for spotting that out. Apparently, I'm even more blind than I realized. New glasses incoming. Let's see if we can see it very briefly. Now that kind of looks like arcing slice from Warrior animation. But yeah, okay. This is why you guys are here as well. We're talking about this together. So we're a team. Me and you. The Death Shroud suggestion was also very good. Photon Blitz. So fire multiple piercing blasts at your targets. The skill is unique per game mode. Okay, so we're looking at it. This is actually very much... This is good because he's in the mists. So we can actually find out what this does in PvP. This skill is unique to game mode. Damage 8 times 2.7k. Heat gain 2%. 8 stacks of burning. 8 stacks of burning. Wow. That is pretty intense. So you could go for, depending on what stats they use in Guild Wars 2 or they bring in, there's going to be, I think this could be really a move towards potentially having some kind of hybrid build. And if you've got pistol as well, That could be interesting in itself, because you've got survival for pistol, you haven't got scrapper, but you've got this build where you can use utilities, and you can use the fire forge, photon forge as well, which is cool. Wow. And that goes through people. Yeah. This is pretty awesome. And that goes through. That pierces. Damn. Okay. Bloody hell. That's kind of crazy. AoE. I want to see the animation. Oh wow. So he gets pistols out. Literally that ability from Thief. Okay, let's have a look. That is sick. And it looks cool as well. So literally, you know, it's telling you to go pistol. I love it. Yeah. That's basically... So again, you know, that makes it so that a 1v1 build potentially is even more viable than before, previously fought. And also the fact that you can just be used to finish off your target like you guys are saying as well. That's pretty crazy. I can use Wanderers or something with that. That'd be pretty nice, actually. No, maybe not Wanderers, actually. Okay, let's continue. Holographic Shockwave. Create a deadly holographic shockwave that launches foes upwards. So you've actually got a knock-up as well. This attack always deals a critical hit. So damage 1k, heat gain 25%. So this is like a combo builder. I like this because in a way it feels a bit like a fighting game where you have to build up, you know, combos to get to your ultimate damage spike, I guess, in a way. So you could think of this holographic shockwave, depending on, you know, your damage modifiers, depending on whether or not you're 50%, 75% charge on your photon forge in terms of heat, which isn't available in this video, by the way. You can really use this as a combination to get to that level or to take it to the next level. So if you're slowly in a fight, you know, you want to burst them down potentially, you use boom, holographic shockwave, knock them. You've got a ton of damage. You built 25% heat. You're at 50 or 55 or so. You get above 75. When you get more heat, you do more damage, as far as I know. And then you knock them up, and you go into 4, and you've bursted them down. Or you build might from the third ability with stability, so that you can definitely get your 4th skill off, even better. And then you've bursted this guy down. That is pretty cool. I like that. That would be really good in, I guess, raids as well, but I don't know how much the other stuff is useful. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Okay. So what next is... I think we might have an animation for this. Okay, let's go to the... Pardon me, the Elite. And we might go over these again, because I'm not sure, again, I can't remember exactly what's in the video. Charge up and fire an explosive beam of light in front of you. So it's called Prime Light Beam. Charge up and fire an explosive beam of light in front of you. When activated above the heat threshold, this attack leaves behind a burning holographic field. Okay. Damage. Again, it can't really... Stats-wise, it's high damage, I would say. Field damage... This is an elite ability, remember. This isn't just like your pansy ass, you know, utility. This is an elite, so it's got to be good. A burning field for 4 seconds. Vulnerability, looks like that's been traded, but that could be increased duration, I guess. Launch. Okay. Doesn't say that. Number of targets 5. Field pulse is 10, and it lasts for 10 seconds. It's an explosion and is unblockable. So explosions do more damage. If we think about in terms of what that could synergize well with, if we think about explosives, let me go back and just double check something, because I think this could be good with something actually. So this could be good with the explosives line. Explosive powder. Improves damage from explosions. Turrets explode and knock back foes when destroyed. Okay, so you could go back to explosions for this maybe, but would you drop inventions and alchemy is another thing, but you can do extra damage with explosions obviously. So it has some synergy elsewhere with other things, whether or not that's something you'd go for just for that. I mean, explosions cause vulnerability as well, so it could be something you could go with. I think there's just part of me where I'm like, I just want to bring bomb kit back, because this was my obsession last Elite Spec change, and I just played the bomb build and I got shit on for it. They added a lot of unblockable stuff. Yeah, it says unblockable there as well. You're very right about that. Yeah, but Guardian has an unblockable ability. Yeah, that's true. That's one thing about, yeah, things being unblockable. I think things that are unblockable take away a lot of the like counterplay to, you know, especially PvP, or to also, although to be honest, that is counterplay itself, like being able to use an unblockable ability, because sometimes people can be annoying to destroy. Like a Guardian with the amount of blocks he has in the Aegis application, in a way you need to be able to mitigate things like that. So, and they've got a ton of blocks, man. I mean, I don't know how many other classes have unblockable abilities, but there's only one that I've seen so far, unless I missed something, which is possible. So I don't think it's that bad until we find out exactly what other classes have. Myself specifically included in that. But yeah, tell me if the volume's okay or anything else, guys, as well. Okay, so that's pretty cool. I wonder, is it going to show us? Oh, man, you just pull out a big rifle. Boom. Okay. It didn't remain at all. Huh. Okay. I guess he's got to hit someone? Don't know. Maybe it's because he's in this area and it's not hit anyone. Ah, okay, Fox. Yeah, shielding stuff. Okay. So it's about mitigation of damage rather than complete avoidance. Yeah, Theo, that's a very good point. That's a very good point, dude. Let's have a look at this animation. So he's... No. Whoops. I've got to take it back a little bit further. Let's take it back further again. So he takes him like... Yeah, and it charges up. So it's a bit like a Warrior Rifle F1, right? Yeah, you'll be able to re-watch it, don't worry. If you have any questions, we can go back over stuff. I might ask Richie if I can put it on YouTube, but I won't monetize it because it's his footage. Okay, so that's quite cool. Let's have a look one more time at that animation though. You're right, Theo. You're right about that. It could be pretty easy to dodge. But if you could use it from stealth, but then you can't get in stealth. Unless you're in stealth before that. And you can't use your kits during Photon Forge. Because otherwise you'll be ridiculously powerful. And because of F1 skills, I believe. Yeah, you can definitely rewatch it. Okay, so the next one, which is going to be one of my favorites, because looks wise, yeah, good versus downstate, exactly, really good cleave ability, very true, very true, and could be good just in PvE, I guess, as well. Highlight Arena, this looks really cool. This looks really cool. If you're wondering why I've not got green screen and stuff up as well, it's because it's really warm in Seattle at the moment. I mean, it's 35, 36 degrees. Yeah, exactly with Fox, like Thea said as well. That makes a lot of sense. Hard light arena. So create a holographic arena that grants you boons while inside of it. When activated above the heat threshold, the radius and duration are increased. So it's a combo field. Let's have a look. Heat threshold 50. Heat threshold 50. Fury 2 seconds. Protection, regen. Wow, okay. if you fire that at a point, people have a hard choice to make. Yeah, that's true. First beta was like before was the story though. I think we only have Revenants and that's all you could do. It's not that, you know, it's not that long until the Expac, man, is it? It's like a month and a bit. Like 6 weeks or something. Maybe 7. Anyway, boon application interval is 1 second when you get those boons. Duration increase 4 seconds. Is this... Ah, okay, so there you go. So the heat threshold is 50. The duration increase is 4 seconds if you reach that, and the duration, the radius increase is 120. But you've got to be at 50%, 50 heat. It doesn't say 50% though; it says 50 heat. So there are percentages in this as well, where you do more damage above 50% heat ratio of Photon Forge. So there's a little bit. I'm not saying confusion on my behalf, but more of like, do they take this into effect? Because I believe 1 minute 26. Let's go back and have a look quickly at something that I saw. Maximum heat says 150 there, so I'm guessing that has been traded up from something. So, you know, that isn't a percentage, that said heat 50. But then there's percentages of, you know, 5% and whatnot. So all of these percentages must be this heat number rather than 100. I'm assuming. Anyway, I could be wrong. Um, 6 weeks too long. Come on, man. How long did we have to wait for Heart of Thorns? Jesus, much longer. Much longer. I'm fine with them, you know, 7 weeks. I know what you mean, though. You're excited. You want to play it. Let's just have a look at the boon application 1 second interval. Sorry. Oh, he's going to use it with Sword Shield. We do see it because I've seen it in the video. He's gone back into Photon Forge. That's the utility. Remember, that's not. You don't have to be in Photon Forge for that. But you want to be in Photon Forge when you use it, I think, because you're going to be. You can see, like with the heat threshold and what else, you want to have it building. You know. Does it change if the heat goes above 50% while you're in a fight? Does that change as it occurs, or does it change when you use it? That's what I want to know. Okay, he's going to show us anyway. If not now, it will show us later. Look at that. That's a capture point of, like, you know, majority of a capture point. It's not mid at faux fire, but it's pretty big. Like, that gets increased as well. It's kind of funny, folks. Yeah, it's not that far away. They kind of look like the arena net arches, but not completely. Yeah, I guess, yeah, it does say when activated above the heat threshold. You're right, you're right. So that actually makes sense. I should try to learn to read, really. When activated above the heat threshold, you're completely correct. That's right, that's right. I'm just getting excited. Because I want that to be a thing, I think. I want things like that to be in the case. So while something's active, if you're building up something as well, then, you know, that would be pretty cool. Yeah, someone mentioned something about the cooldown. 45 seconds. It doesn't decrease the recharge, though. And it's quite big, but also it can lock down targets, I guess, as well. It doesn't... It says combo field light, but it doesn't say anything about locking opponents into it, as far as I can see. I mean, the assumption is... Hey, Guild Wars 2... Viff is... How you doing? What's up?
Excellent!
Yeah. Exactly, Cave. Exactly. Sorry, Rave. The background on my my ankport is actually like grey and black, so kind of darkened that out. But it looks cool as well. That's the important thing. What I like is that animation actually goes down further into the ground. So if it is in a place like this on the capture point, the graphics, you can still see the edge of the gate. So, you know, if you're on waterfall on Fofo, for example, you can actually truly see where it reaches to. Do you know what I mean? Oh, same production as wife. Okay, cool. Awesome. So that's got a big cooldown though. But yeah, like you said, you know, building up the heat and whatnot, it might not feel that big. So that's not too bad. I want to see what different armor sets look like with the holographic kind of graphic over the top. I actually think that will be quite a cool thing. Okay. So let's keep going. This is really good. This is really good for me to go through as well and to talk to other people about it. Yeah, that's very true as well, Theo. Yeah, that's what's coming up in my head as well. The amount of effects and lighting and stuff. The thing is now that there is no real focus on esports again and ESL and whatnot as well, is that they can just be creative as they like, you know. And really that ability is a PvP ability. Like, I don't really see the usage of that in PvE to a degree. Like, why would you use that in a raid? I don't know. Maybe someone can tell me. But they always have PvP and World v World in mind. World v World, maybe. Can you imagine a shed load of... Can you imagine an NG raid in World v World and they suddenly put that thing down? Jesus Christ. That would be intense. Actually might be kind of fun, though. Okay. You will try Mirage. Maybe there'll be a point where we maybe go through that. Okay, so let's have a look. He's just showing us some of the animations. Ah, there we go, the heal. So coolant blast. Now we have, as Engineer's Scrapper, I don't think there's ever really been, other than the gyro heal, a heal that was being used. Hello, Fru. Hey, Expats. How you doing, man? How you guys doing? I don't think there's ever been a heal which you're going to use regularly, or we've ever used regularly. This footage has been... I've borrowed this footage from someone on YouTube. He's called BogOtter. You can go and check out his channel, and he has all of the footage for most of the Elite Specs, or he's releasing it day by day. There are a very small amount of people selected to go and play the demo and to record some footage. So there are some people that have this footage. So go visit his channel as well, his YouTube channel. But I'm just going through it and trying to explain it and get my head around it as well. And I play engineer, so yeah, that's why I'm doing this. Oh, he has like 4. Okay. Well, it's out. I don't know how much more footage he's got, so I'm just, yeah, doing my bit. There we go. Also, Awesome Mod has written an article on Path of Fire, and you can also buy the Expac as well. If you want to support me, just while we're doing this, if you want to support me by buying the expansion, you can do it through that link below or below the stream. I'm massively shitting again. Oh, okay, right, okay. He's only really captured 4. Well, you can go and have a look at 4. It's better than none. So that's good. It's good that there is some footage of that. Okay, so we're going to continue. So Coolant Blast. Heal yourself and chill nearby foes. If you are above the heat threshold when this skill is activated, gain Frost Aura and continue healing. Frost Aura is, of course, negates damage coming into you by 10%, which, there you go, it says it there. I didn't need to think about that. Which is cool. So heal yourself and chill nearby foes. You are above... Okay. So healing is just under 5k. I wonder if this scales. I don't know. Chill, two seconds. That's good. That's really good. Obviously, skilled recharge rate and movement speed. It means you can get away as well. So it feels like a utility to really get away and reduce the damage incoming to you, rather than just giving you, oh, here you go, here's turret, and here's a massive amount of healing. Here is an ability, you know, which can sustain you in terms of, you know, protecting you With, you know, Frost Aura, and also, you know, Chilled is a bit of a utility, really. Chilled is a bit of a utility. If you already showed them, could you after just repass on F1, F2? We haven't done though. We haven't got to that, dudes. We haven't got to that yet. We haven't got to that yet, my friend. We're still on our way to that. We're still on our way there, my man. Cooling Vapor. Now, what's that? Heal yourself and chin by foes. If you're above the heat threshold when this skill is activated, gain Frost Aura and continue healing for a duration. So this is where this is. Heat threshold is 50. So even your heal skill, a controversy, even your heal skill is dependent on the amount of heat that you generate. So you're risking a lot between going between 50% and 100% heat. You've really got to watch that bar. Now we haven't got that. Yeah, so it's a bit like getting regeneration, I guess. At a certain percent of heat or whatever, but it's cooling vapor and it's giving its own thing. I can see that them changing that to something like regeneration to change it into more of a boon. I don't know. I can see them maybe changing that. They could do it in the future, I guess. Okay, so 50% heat. So this is kind of interesting. So you need to really manage that heat. You need to make sure you're almost above 50% the whole time you're in different areas, or you're at least getting to a point, because if you don't want to use that before you hit 50%. Sorry, 50 heat, not 50%. But 50 heat out of 150, whether or not that's augmenting for traits or not, and then or 100, because I'm not sure if it's 100 or 150 because it was in blue. So there's a lot of questions rolling in my head. Like, is this 150 the maximum heat, or is that augmented through the traits? It's difficult, but I can imagine you would want it to be 150 more so than 100, so you don't get damaged. Anyone who hears Transformer sounds, yeah, it follows. I can't take it off for some reason because Streamlabs is being rubbish, and it's not happening that often. Bog mentioned on stream that the dev said that it was a high risk, high reward spec, keeping yourself between 50% and 100% all the time to be the most effective. That's exactly what I said. Okay. Yes, if you mess up, you take lots of damage. Hey, Avaj, how you doing, man? Yeah, it's yeah. That's going to happen. You know that's going to happen. First day. Come here. Watch me on stream. Watch me explode from heat. Okay. That sounded weird. It could be interesting. This is the thing. Like, this build, for me, is going to be... Because I'm Plat 1 in Guild Wars 2 NA PvP. Whether or not that means anything to anyone anymore is another thing. It's okay. It's just an average level that I'm at. I'm doing okay. There are a lot of people better than me at PvP. I've never said that I'm the fantastic PvPer. But yeah, that's not what this stream is about, I guess. It's not about me, at least. But it's about those top players who can maybe manage that kind of thing a lot better than me. But it's going to be... So there might actually be quite a high skill cap to this build, just even with management of that and being able to use it at different times. So that's quite interesting. Whereas Scrapper, I don't really think you need to have a... There's not really a big skill cap from Scrapper. It's just about, you know, can you survive longer than the other Scrapper sometimes? More than anything, and can you use your res abilities and, you know, your survival and, you know, support your team and do your job as a Scrapper, like in team fights by defending like a Necro or something. It's those specific tasks that are the thing with Scrapper. It's not really the skill of the actual build. It's more of like your effectiveness as a support and, you know, a 1v1er on a side note, I guess. So what does that mean for HoloSmith? What's his role? What's this best position to be in? And at the moment, to me, it looks like more of a side cap 1v1 build than a build that's going to be very supportive. I mean, it looks like it's going to be good in team fights as well. So, in a way, not fantastic. But like finishing them off maybe in different terms of like the elite and the downing abilities, the cleave abilities it has and whatnot, and maybe the arena that they can put down. But still, that's got quite a big cooldown as well. I'm just quickly changing something volume-wise, because at the moment this is really loud. And it's not letting me change it for some reason. I swear, Streamlabs is just bad. But anyway, let's go back to you guys. Gonna be so hot on release day, Beyond says. I can't wait for the our NG blew himself up again comment. Oh god, yeah, that's true. Demand transformer sound effects when the HoloSmith goes. See, that is true. That would be sick. Yeah, I can talk about other stuff that's not related to this video afterwards. Like Wooden Potatoes giveaway is awesome. Go and get yourself involved in it. I'll tweet it out. Is the heat exploder % loss of your HP, or does it have a value? It is HP loss. As far as I know, yes. As far as I know. Yeah, it looks like percentage. They've said, someone did say that basically Green Lantern, pretty much. You can pre-purchase until the day before the expansion release, as far as I know. There is also a link below if you do want to do that, or you can click the link if you want to buy it or play it for free and test the game, of course, as well. You don't have to buy Heart Forms to play the expansion, so you don't even need the Elite Specs or Masteries, apparently, because I think Masteries apply mainly to mounts. Jesus, mounts. Oh, fruity. This is why I'm going to PvE even more, because mounts in Guild Wars 2. I want mounts in World v World. If they bring mounts into World v World, I actually think that would be really cool. I mean, there must be a limit, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, of course. I'm doing a stream as well, so I can't just, like, look for myself. No, you can't. Controversy, I'm sorry. The video link is in the screen as well, so you can look at it yourself if you want to. I don't know what the limit is. That's the thing, so I don't want to say, because I don't actually know. So the heal looks okay, but again, it's about that management of the heat threshold and whatnot. I'm not going to rush this, guys. I'm not going to rush this. This is for myself as much as it is for you. That is just an instant cast as well, by the looks of things. Spectrum shield. So break stun effects. We saw this one, didn't we? Yeah, we did. Minus 50% incoming damage, minus 50% condition damage. So we've actually seen that. We didn't see it activated though. Pardon me. So he might use it here. Oh, cool. Wow, that's bright. That's graphic. It looks awesome. It looks very awesome. Can you imagine this on like an Asura? This is like lore based, man, I guess. I don't know. It looks cool for an Asura, I reckon. At least you know where the scrapper is, where the HoloSmith is when he's in the team fight. I mean, Jesus, it's a pretty big giveaway, I guess. Does look very cool. Ah, he went over it. That's the one we haven't seen yet. There we go. Laser disc. We didn't see this, or did we? I don't think we did. Create rotating laser blades to damage nearby foes. This skill has increased duration when activated while above the heat threshold. There we go. Increased duration when activated above the heat threshold. So, heat threshold is 50. Bleeding, so condition. Duration increase 50%, so that's pretty sweet. Duration is 6 seconds to 12. Radius is 180. And pulses are 12 as well. I need to see what the animation is. Oh, so that is similar to the I can't remember, the Revenant utility as well, with the 2 spinning axes, right? Thanks for the fart sound effect. That is really intrusive. Look at that. Oh, good lord. Visually, that is, for PvP, is intrusive as hell. I mean, I don't know if this is post-processing or not, so I don't think it is, or is it? It probably is. But yeah, that is intrusive. It's very obvious as well, so you're not going to want to get too close to that. So the bleeding, and there's 12 pulses, so it's pulses rather than just it hits you. Oh well, I guess. Wait a minute, this is 12 pulses. I can't see what the heat is. This is duration 6 seconds though. So is that 2 pulses a second? Or am I being dumb? Green rotating laser blades to damage nearby foes. This skill has increased duration when activated while above the heat threshold. So I don't know what heat threshold he is. I don't know if that's gone up because the duration is actually 12 seconds because it's increased. So again, you know, that's something you'd have to test out. I'm raiding in an hour and a half. Hard Light Arena we already saw. Okay, these are the things we haven't seen these actually. Always raid on the first day. Yeah, it says heat threshold 50%, but it's not. That's not the thing that I'm trying to. You can't, man. We've already got a team, dude, and I'm not sure it's this. I'm not sure it's exactly the same kind of crowd you're used to in PvP. I'm not gonna be honest. I'm gonna be honest about that. It's a bit of a different crowd. But yeah, I mean, if we need someone, I'll let you know, dude. Pragmatic Singularity. Collapse a ring of holograms to pull foes into a single point. Oh wow, the ring explodes when it fully collapses. Radius and pull distance increase while above the heat threshold. So collapse a ring of holograms to pull foes into a single point. So it's a bit like the Mesmer 4th skill where you can pull people in to a degree, and also maybe a bit like gravity. Doesn't put them up in the air. Yeah, exactly, Rafe. Yeah, I like the way you both kind of said that at the same time. But yeah, kind of combination of the two. You need to see it on people. So again, you know, it's all about the heat. You know, using a lot of these abilities over 50% heat. 50 heat, not percent. Like the kit refined bomb pull that nobody cares about. Yeah, pretty much. So, yeah, that really doesn't get used at all. Okay, so I wonder if he's going to use it. So the pull is 240. The blast radius is 120. Pull damage isn't really the reason why you would use it. It's an explosion. Again, that's another thing. Yeah. Well, you get to see some today. I got my crystalline heart as well for my legendary, so we'll see. Okay, man. Maybe we can get a raid team together ourselves as well on a different day and learn how to do stuff. Okay, so let's see if it's got an animation. Alright, wait, he's not used it, so we'll just go through the other ones. F1, use a laser to burn off conditions and set yourself on fire for each condition removed. Oh god. Removes additional conditions if above the heat threshold. 3/4 second cast time, 30-second cooldown. This is dangerous. Okay, so again, is it dangerous? You're always going to be burning at least once. At least once. Corruption energy. So you can pull off a condition. So heat threshold, again, if you want to remove conditions, you want to be above 50 heat, not 50%. Yeah, dude, I'm hyped as hell, dude. I'm excited as a small apple. I don't know what that means. I have no idea. And apples don't get excited. They're not existing, really, as, you know. Well, they are existing. You know what I mean? Brains. Sometimes they have more than me though. Anyway. So you take away conditions. Standard is 2. If you're above heat threshold of 50, you take an additional 2 away. So that's 4 conditions, but you set yourself on fire. If I'm wondering, incoming conditions from alchemy, or whatever trait line it is alchemy or inventions, turned into conditions, turned into boons. I'm wondering if it affects that. Self-burning. It's not incoming, is it? It's self. Sentient is definitely the phrase. Hey, Sketchbutts, how you doing?
Awesome. Check them out now, and thanks for joining the channel.
Clouded, thanks for the host. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. If we've got a mod in the stream, that would be fantastic if we could get cast a command for Clouded. I know Dregtress is here, but she might be away at the moment. Go follow Clouded. Awesome. Thank you. Clouded, say something, and then they can click on your name. That's another way of doing it. Use a laser to burn off conditions. So that one's good, you know. Other than that, and I'm just thinking about incoming conditions, I don't think you'll be able to remove that. Other than with just standard condition removal. I haven't key. I might do that in a minute. I don't actually think it's that bad. I mean, because some of the stuff you get is pretty fantastic. No, it's not controversy. What? You failed yesterday. You literally came into the stream and told us that you failed. So don't do it. Do you want gold for the expansion, or... You know... That's another thing. Okay, so let's go back over this. You got addicted yesterday. Ah, Princess, awesome, hello. Can you do a cast command for Clouded Shimra, please? As soon as she comes in, challenge. Because cauterize, great. Condy removal. Okay, we need that. You need more of it in the build. It's just a cast, 3/4 of a second. Flash spark, release a blinding burst of light from your holographic emitter while above the heat threshold.
Savage, wrecked, absolutely taken down.
Oh, I'm going to turn sound effects off for now, actually. While above the heat threshold, gain light aura. Is minus 10% incoming condition damage. Blind for 3 seconds. Heat threshold is 50, and then you get the additional minus 10% condition damage or light aura. So you do, again, it's managing the heat, which is important. You need to always be thinking about the heat. Like 50 is the golden number here, people. If you're ever using any ability in Photon Forge, you need to make sure you've got at least 50 heat to take advantage of any additional bonus, as in, you know, minus 10% incoming condition damage, or the aura you get from healing, the frost aura, you know, all these different things. So you need to be careful about how you use this. I'll talk about the Elite F5 as well. You're right about that. I mean, if you think about it for Scrapper, it's a reveal. It's okay, you know? If you haven't got a thief, I mean, there are loads of people that can stealth, so... It's good, but it's not like the best thing ever. It does help a lot, though. It can change a lot of situations. But maybe Photon Forge can. Let's have a look. What else we got? Ah, missed it. There we go. Let's put it back. Let's just see. It goes over there. There you go. Blade bursts. So fire holographic blades at foes within range. Damage increased while over the heat threshold. Again, heat threshold is 50. And the damage increase is 25%, and it's bleeding for 8 seconds. And it can hit 5 targets. It's a tiny one. It's not massive, in all honesty. I mean, these are all based off the utilities. They must be. I don't think they're changed because of Photon Forge. Yeah. The cooldown is a little high for a clutch blind. Yeah. I haven't really talked about the cooldowns too much on that, actually. There's a 40-second cooldown as well. Yeah, that's true. We're talking about these things individually rather than saying, you know, this is that and this is that. This utility is that. This doesn't have a tool belt skill. That is something that Key said. So obviously, the heal is F1, that one is that one, that one is that one. So it's whether or not you think that, is that good and is that good? Is it a good combination? Can I use it in different situations in PvP as well as just like, that's good. But the thing is, if it's like ridiculously important for you to have a utility, you're not always going to care too much about the tool belt skill, you know? It's like Purge Gyro is really good because you get a poison field. You know, that's good. Bulwark Gyro is awesome because you get defense field. Reflect projectiles versus like any ranged abilities is really good. Like it saves you a lot, especially versus Power Rangers that just spam 2. And then you're just like, hey, you just killed yourself. And like Guardians who are trying to take you down off point, or anyone with long ranged abilities. Reflect it back. Other than unblockable stuff and the horrible stuff that can potentially destroy you. New thief got a reveal removed. Oh dear. Okay, let's have a look. Next one, Prismatic Singularity. Collapse a ring of holograms to pull foes. Oh no, we've already seen that. We've already seen that. Is it going to show us the ability itself? I think so. But I don't think we're going to be able to see it fully. Oh, there you go. Oh, that's cool. Ah, that's actually really good. And you can really see that as well. It's quick, though. That's quick. That's a quick ability. So that pulls you into the middle. I thought it was going to be something that would cast from afar. Radius and pull increases by 120 over the heat threshold. That's actually pretty cool. It's a video. Yeah, it's a video, Kranis. Hey, dude, as well. That's pretty sick. Wow. Okay. Ha. I like that. That pull. It's a bit like having... No, it's not really, is it? Because it's single. Is he playing versus anyone? That'd be sick if he was. Okay, so normal sword abilities now. Sun Edge. Strike your foe and inflicts vulnerability. The attack gains additional crit chance based on that level. Oh, okay. Crit hit bonus above 100% heat. 50%. Critical hit bonus above 50% hit. Heat 25%. Number of targets 3. Cleave again. This attack gains additional critical hit chance based on the heat level again. So it's like heat level is so important. So extra damage. Does it tell you the base damage? So 696. Yeah, 696. Wow. Okay. So you don't even need to have crit in your build. What I think these should be is if you've got crit, like this can only affect your build if you've got a tiny bit of crit in it, which makes it more dangerous. Although to be fair, you know, that really narrows down the amount of amulets you can use. The face key. Gleam Saber. So unleash a burst of stored energy with your sword and recharge your other sword skills. This attack gains additional critical hit chance based on heat level. Pretty cool. Charge other sword skills. Ah, okay. Huh. That's actually really nice. Recharge other sword skills. Recharge time reduced by 3 seconds. We need to see the cooldown on those though. Standard sword animation. Nothing crazy. That's 9-second cooldown. How much was the recharge rate reduced? 3 seconds. That's actually really good. That's actually not too bad. Yeah, basically. I've not seen him glowing. Is that what it is? It's a glowing red thing. Oh, you saw that. That animation was quite pitiful. It looks like it's not the biggest projectile in the world, but okay. Refraction cutter. Strike at foes in front of you and launch a blade of light at your target. Launch extra blades based on your heat level. Ah, because he's low heat level. Okay. So yeah, there we go. It would be 4. So I guess it's a bit like the axe throw from Ranger, right? It's the second ability. Overheat, over 50% heat, extra 2, so it'll be total of 5. Range is 600, and it inflicts bleeding. So that's actually not too bad. Number of targets 3. Targets 3. Okay. Again, making sure you're over 50% heat. 50%. Remember, there's 50% and there's 50 heat. And it said, there was somewhere where it said 150 heat. So you have to remember that. It's the difference between 50% and 50. Dependent on whether or not, you know, obviously as well, is that if it goes between, you know, 100 and 150 heat. Because it did look like it was kind of changed in the traits because it was in blue. But I don't know if that's duration. Is it 5 or 7? Is what 5 or 7? Have you asked the question before and I've missed it? I don't think so. I can't see what I'm not sure what you mean. If you repeat what you mean, then I'll answer. I'll talk about it. Is it 5 or 7? And of course that gets reduced by 3 seconds as well by the third ability of the sword there. Oh, projectiles. Yeah, he said. I said that at the beginning. We can't see the heat bar. We can't see what that looks like because it's not working at the moment. So they're still trying to get that in the demo build. So we don't know what heat he's at. We know he's probably at what, like not much because he's not in photon charge mode as well. So yeah, we can't really see that unfortunately at the moment. Because if you're over 100, you are over 50 as well. Yes. I'm still not sure what you mean. Is it 5 or 7? It's just one projectile when it launched out. We saw that one projectile. If it's over 50% heat, you get an additional 2, so that's 3. And if you're over 100%, you get an additional 4. So it's 2 added to that. Or is it... Oh, I see what you mean. So do you mean, is it 7... Okay, is it 7 or is it 5? Okay, now I understand what you mean. That's a good point. That's a good point. I mean, it says additional, so maybe, you know, the wording on that is a bit... isn't the greatest. So additional, because we don't really see additional much in the game at the moment, do we? It's a good point, though. Yeah. I understand. I know, I understand. Yeah. Okay, well, that's a good question. That's a good question. I don't think we're going to find out, unfortunately, but it's a good question. We're not going to find out until we get to play it, right? Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. It does say additional, which is different wording. So yeah, I mean, they often change a lot of their stuff in the tooltips to change it to maybe be like, oh, this is a little bit confusing. This is additional on top of something else which says additional. So is it additional in terms of adding it to the original additional, or is it additional as in total plus the core, which is 1, which is 5, or is it 7, like you say? Because of the previous 2. On 50%. So yeah, no, that makes sense. That makes sense. That's a good point. That's a good question. This is why it's good to do this kind of thing with you guys, because we can all think about it, right? Radiant arc. So leap to your target, which we did see, and create an arc of light that strikes nearby foes. Gain quickness based on your heat level. So actually quickness as well. So 50% heat, 2 seconds skills, and actions are faster. Obviously that's quickness. 50% heat gives you Pardon me? Oh, at or below. If you're over 50%, 4 seconds. If you're over 100% heat, 6 seconds. I wonder how much damage you take at 100% heat and how often you get that. Because 100% heat, so that's you're doing damage as you take damage, right? But you're doing extra damage. So you need to really that the testing that will be how long does it take me to get to a point where I'm dead or taken out of Photon Forge? Because I think they said it doesn't down you, right? As far as I remember, that's what I've heard anyway. I'm not 100% sure. Cripple is cool. 4 seconds. You close the gap and you cripple them, and you do a ton of get quickness as well, which can bring you. So the quickness can take you into Photon Forge, for example. So there's a lot of combo abilities. There's a lot of combos actually for HoloSmith. That's pretty cool. I like it. Nice. Animation's alright. Shield. But guys, look at this. The sword shield NG. How hype is that? I would have been kind of like, mace would have been cool, but sword kind of makes sense. A hollow sword. I mean, come on now. What would have been cool is to add an effect through engineer on swords. Like he just gave you, you know how Aegis on Guardian gives you that little blue shield. It would have been cool on Guardian. I know that's a buff though. But it's just over your shield. It's just, I know it's not additional in the same sense because it's a boon, but just like something, you know, it would have been sick. It's not the same at all. But it's the way my head went. I think this is mainly going to be abilities now. So Spectrum Shield, which we saw before, breaks stun. We've already seen that. Negative 50% incoming condition damage and just raw damage, like power. Pretty good. Oh, what was that? Photon Wall. There's the last one. Exceed a defensive barrier appears in front of you that blocks you and your allies from incoming attacks. It's missile blocking. Reactivate Exceed to fire the barrier at foes as an attack. So it gets pushed forward. This skill grants projectile reflection if you're using above heat threshold. Awesome. That's cool. Oh, Revenant. Oh, Revenant. Oh. Anyone with projectiles. God, Dragon Hunter is going to get wrecked versus this a bit times. Launch Wall. Launch your Photon Wall forward, causing the wall to explode when it strikes a foe. Inflicting conditions on nearby enemies, so it's actually vulnerability as well. So not only have you fired back their projectiles, so reflected them back, you can push it forward. I thought I said 8 stacks of vulnerability. And make them vulnerable. Additional walls? Jesus, 2 additional walls. So 3 in total. Above 50. 50 is the magic number. 50. Like heat. 50 heat. If you're not above 50 heat when you're using your abilities, you're doing it wrong. But it's about what you do, how quick you are able to build up the heat, right? Rather than the fact that, you know, what do I do until I get to that point? So there is a point in time where you actually do your damage abilities aren't doing that much. Like you're just there, kind of trying to be supportive, or you're just trying to build up your heat. How quickly the heat builds up. And I don't know that unless I'm missing something. Literally, Princess, if you just Google Guild Wars 2 event timers, you'll get to the wiki. First thing. And there's another event timer boss as well. Number of targets 5, so that's PvP as well. Fantastic. There's normally 5. I want to see that actual animation though. Oh, that's cool. It's kind of got that same radius as the Dragon Hunter Virtue. The third one. The wiki has the timers on it. It's not just got times. It's got a timing bar which goes along and it's got the times going down. It's really good. I've been using it for all the events. Oh, the nodes. Oh, the nodes as well. Okay, yeah, I don't know. But yeah. Maybe. Okay, you just said timer on it as well, so I thought you said that. That's why. You kind of said timer. But I know you want the nodes thing because it's got everything on one. I don't know. I'm not sure. Someone might know. Which is why you probably asked in chat. Anyway, I'm going to continue doing what we're doing. Photon, so it looks pretty cool as well. It said, like, overheat. I mean, you'd say 100%, but I think maybe you get to 100% and then you take damage over time. I don't know. See, well, we haven't got the bar there, so we don't know. And it's like really just guessing. Oh, another Weird Al. Sorry, man. Let me post it. You might be able to see that, actually. Princess, I'm not too sure. That's what another Weird Al just posted.